Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. Hope everyone is doing okay. So today we're going to learn how to make this mini Balenciaga bag. This was a subscriber's request and this tutorial is for those who have never attempted making this bag before or who would like a much simpler way to make this bag. Let's get to it then. For this tutorial, we'll need some beads. We'll be using these pearl beads in size 8. You'd also need your fishing line. Today we're going to use 0.60 millimeters. You'd also need a magnetic button. I got these regular ones. And lastly, your scissors. That is all you'll need for this. Let's go. We want to start with the base of this bag first. To do that, on the left hand side of the fishing line, you are going to add 4 beads. Draw down 3, then you cross both ends into the last one added. Now you have made your first ring. To continue on both sides of the line, you want to add 1 bead each. So to the left, you add 1 bead. The right, you add another bead, then you take 1 more bead and you cross both ends of your fishing line into that bead. Draw that down. Your second ring is now complete. To continue, let's repeat what we just did. On both sides, we add 1 bead each. Then we take 1 more bead and we cross both ends of the line into that bead. Now you have made your third ring. So you want to keep repeating this step, 1 on each side, then you cross with 1. I have done 3 so far. Let's do this until we get to the 12th ring, okay? Let's go. I am right here on the 12th ring, but this is not my desired length. My desired length is 13 rings. I decided to stop here because the last ring, which is the 13th ring, is going to be slightly different from what we usually do. This time around, we won't add 1 on each side and cross with 1. No, this time it's going to be 3 beads on the left, then you cross both ends of your line into the last one added. Now the 13th ring is complete. Takes us to the other side and not the top, as you can see. It is now time to start the second row. To do that, on the left hand side of our fishing line, we are going to add 3 beads. Then we cross both ends of the line into the last one added. Drag that down, and now you have made the first ring on the second row. To continue, the right hand side of our line will go into the next bead. Then on the left hand side, we are going to add 2 beads. Then we cross both ends of the line into the last one added. The second ring on the second row is complete. To continue, repeat what we just did. The right hand side will go into the next bead. On the left, we add 2 beads, then we cross both ends into the last one added. So keep up with this routine until you get all the way down, but stop at the second to the last ring, okay? Because the last ring would be slightly different. Let's go. I'm here on the second to the last one. Let's complete that. Add 2 beads to the left, then we cross into the last one added. It is now time to create the last ring. I will pass my fishing line through that bead there. But this time, I won't add 2 beads to the left. No, it will be on the right this time. So I'm going to add 2 beads on the right. Then I cross both ends into the last one added. Now the last ring is complete, and so is the second row. So here on, we just want to keep building this base. To start a new row, we add 3 beads to the left, then we cross into the last one. Once that is done, you keep up with the usual routine of 2 beads, and when you get all the way down, you have to be mindful of the last ring, which is going to be slightly different, where you add 2 beads to the right instead of the left. So this is all you need to know about building the base of this bag. I have done 2 complete rows and now I am on the 3rd row. I'm going to do this until I get to the 5th row, okay? If this part of the tutorial is not still clear enough, I have an in-depth tutorial on the matting technique and I did these exact steps. So I'm going to leave a link and go check it out. Let's go. I have finally completed the base of this bag. This is what my work looks like. I did 5 rows in total. It is now time to create the body of this bag. To do that, I will pass my fishing line through that bead on the edge there. Draw that out. Make sure your fishing line is of equal length, okay? Then on the left hand side of the fishing line, we are going to add 3 beads. Then we cross both ends into the last one added. Draw that down, and this is what we have. To continue, the right hand side of the fishing line would go into the next bead. Then on the left, we are going to add 2 beads. Then we cross both ends of the line into the last one added. Remember this routine, right? This is our usual routine. So the right would go into the next bead, and on the left we add 2 beads. So we want to keep this going until we get all around this space, okay? But I want you to stop at the second to the last ring. Okay, let's go. I am right here on the second to the last one. Let's complete that real quick. The right would go into the next bead. Then on the left hand side of the line, we are going to add 2 beads to complete it. It's complete. We are now at the last one. If you look closely, you will notice 2 beads there. This is something I like to call a dead end. So we're going to pass our line through those 2 beads. Once that is done, we are going to take 1 more bead and we cross both ends of the line into that bead. Finally, our first row is complete. This is what my work looks like, and this is what yours should look like as well. It is now time to start a new row, and to start a new row, what do? We start with 3 beads to the left. So we take 3 beads to the left hand side of our line, then we cross both ends into the last one added. We have just done the first ring on the second row. The next step is to take the right hand side of your line into the next bead like we did earlier. Then we add 2 beads to the left. So you keep this going until you get all the way around, and when you get to the second to the last bead, you have to be mindful of the dead end, okay, which you go into 2 beads. So this is all you need to know about the making of the body of this bag. I have done 2 rows so far. I'm going to keep building this until I get to the 8th row. Let's go. I have completed the body of this bag and I have done 8 rows so far, like I said earlier. It is now time to shape the sides of this bag. I want you to look closely and count the total rings on the side of this bag. We have 5 rings in total. So I want to locate the 3 beads in the middle of these 5 rings. Then I'll pass my fishing line through it. The 3 of them in the middle there. Drag that out. I will then take 1 bead and cross both ends of my fishing line into it to close that in. Draw that down and notice how tighter it looks. This is what it looks like. Okay, to continue, we want to take both sides of the line and pass it through both sides of those beads I am pointing at. So the right would go to the right and the left would go to the left. Once that is done, we take 1 bead, then we cross both ends of the line into that bead. Now it looks more tighter. Let's repeat that 1 more time. We're going to pass both ends of our line through those next beads. The right would go to the right, the left would go to the left. Then we take 1 more bead and cross both ends through that bead. And yeah, this is where we are going to stop. I am satisfied with the shaping. From here on, I'm just going to pass around my fishing line and cut off the excess. That is, follow the pattern with which I made it, then use the scissors to cut off the excess line. You can decide to tie, that is allowed to, okay? I am done passing around my line, so I'm going to repeat everything we have done on this side to the other side as well. I am done with the shaping of both sides. This is what my work looks like so far. It is now time to create the handle of this bag. If you look closely, you will see a pattern of 4 beads on both sides of this bag. Let's pick that bead right there on the edge. We'll pass our line through it. Make sure your fishing line is of equal length. Then on the left hand side of the line, we are going to add 3 beads. Then we cross both ends of the line into the last one added. Draw that down, and this is what we'll have. We have gone into the first of the 4 beads. To continue, the right hand side would go into the next bead. Then on the left, we are going to add 2 beads. Then we cross both ends of the fishing line into the last one added. This is now complete. We have gone into 2 of the 4 beads so far. The next step, we go into the next bead, that is the 3rd one, with the right hand side of our fishing line. Then on the left, we add 2 beads. We have now completed the 3rd one. We have 1 more bead to go into. Look closely at that last bead right there. I don't know if you can see properly because of the lighting, but yeah, we're going to go into that bead and the other bead right there because that is a dead end. So we'll go into 2 beads this time since it's the last of the 4 beads. Okay, I hope that's clear. Once that is done, we take 1 more bead, then we pass both ends of our fishing line into that bead to close the gap. And now the first line of your handle is complete. This is what my work looks like. To create a new line, you start with 3 beads to the left hand side of your fishing line. Then you cross both ends into the last one added. Draw that down. To continue, the right hand side of the line would go into the next bead there. That is the 2nd of the 4 beads. Then on the left, you add 2 beads, then you cross both ends of the line into the last one. Next step, you go into the next bead again. Then on the left hand side, you take 2 beads and you cross both ends into the last one as usual. We have gone into 3 of the 4 beads so far. It is now time for the final part. Here it is a dead end as usual. We are going to go into 2 beads. That bead right there and the other one there. Then you take 1 bead and you cross both ends of the line into that bead. And finally, you have completed the 2nd line. So this is all you need to know about the making of the handle. I'm going to keep this step going until I reach my desired height. I have done 2 lines so far. I'm going to repeat all these steps until I make about 18 lines. Let's go. I am right here. I have beaded up to 18 lines. This is my desired height. It is now time to join this part of the handle to the other side. And to do that, we are going to make sure they are properly aligned. So this is where my line is facing right there on the right hand side of the bag. To join these ends, firstly we're going to take 1 bead and pass it through the right hand side of our fishing line. Once that is done, you then take that same line through that bead right there that was facing where we were. I hope you understand that. Draw that out. This is what we have. So here we are going to take 1 more bead to close everything in. Okay, now add 1 bead on the left hand side of your fishing line, then you cross both ends into that bead. Now it looks like it's locked in. right? Yeah. So this is what you want to achieve. To continue, we want to take both sides of the line through both sides of these beads. So the left would go to the left and the right would go to the right. Once that is done, you take one more bead and you cross both ends of the line into that bead like we did earlier. The second part is now complete. We have locked in 2 beads so far. We have 2 more to go. We're going to repeat what we just did. Right hand side goes to the right, left hand side goes to the left. Then we take 1 bead and we cross both ends into that bead. It is now time for the final part. If you look closely, you will notice a pattern of 4 beads in total, but it is not just joined. So we're just going to pass our line around those beads. Pass it around to lock that in. We are finally done with the locking of all sides. This is what my work looks like. So from here on, I'm just going to pass around my fishing line and cut off the excess. I am done with that, and this is what my work looks like so far. It looks good on its own actually. You can decide to take your bag like this, but we have one more step to go, that is creating a flap for this bag. Firstly, we want to locate the middle of this bag. We have 13 rings here in total, so we have to look for 7 beads in the middle of these 13 rings. So what do? You take 3 out on each side, then you're left with the 7 beads in the middle. I hope that's clear. To create the flap, the first bead of the 7 rings we picked out, we'll pass our fishing line through that first bead right there. Draw that out, make sure your fishing line is of equal length, and on the left hand side of the fishing line you are going to add 3 beads, then you cross both ends into the last one added. You have now created the first ring on the first row. So to continue, the right hand side goes into the next bead, then on the left you add 2 beads, then you cross both ends into the last one added. Draw that down. Remember, this is our usual routine. So to continue the next step, the right hand goes into the next bead. Keep that going until you get to the second to the last bead, which is the 6th bead of the 7 beads you picked out earlier. Let's go. We are right here on the second to the last bead, which is the 6th bead. To complete the last one, that is the last of the 7 beads we picked out earlier, we'll go into the next bead. This time we are going to add 2 beads to the right instead of the left, so it's going to take us to the other side. And yeah, this is what we have. We have done 1 complete row so far. To continue, we want to create a new row, so on the left hand side of the fishing line we are going to add 3 beads, then we cross both ends into the last one added. Once that is done, we start our usual routine of 2 beads. The right hand side goes into the next bead, then on the left we add 2 beads and cross both ends into the last one. So you want to keep this step going until you get all the way down. I want us to repeat that last part again before I leave you to finish everything on your own. We are on the second to the last bead. Let's complete that. Now it is complete. It is now time to complete the last one. To do that, on the right hand side we are going to add 2 beads instead of the left. Okay, then we cross both ends into the last one, and now our second row is complete. So this is all you need to know about the building of this flap. I have done 2 rows so far. I'm going to keep building this until I get to the 5th row. Okay, let's go. I am on the 5th row now. Let's complete the last one together. And now it is complete. I am finally done creating the flap for this bag. From here, I'm just going to pass around my fishing line and cut off the excess. Okay, I have done that, and this is the final look. This is what our flap looks like. This is what your work should look like as well. It is time for the final part, that is attaching the magnetic buttons to the bag. Firstly, let's locate the middle of this flap. We have 7 rings here in total, so we want to locate the middle right here. We take 3 off on each side, and that right there is the middle. Then we count 2 beads upward and we take the second bead right there. I hope that's clear. Let's lift the flap up. You can decide to take a Sharpie to mark that area so you do not lose sight of it. Okay, this side of the button will stay on this flap. But let's flatten our magnetic button first. To do that, you're just going to press on it. It's not that hard. Just press on it right there to flatten it. This is what it should look like. Then you're going to take a fresh fishing line and pass it through that area we picked out. We'll pass the line through the bottom there, bottom of that second bead we picked out. Draw that out, make sure both ends of your line are equal. Then you take both sides of the line and pass it through both sides of this magnetic button. The right would go to the right and the left would go to the left. Draw it all the way down, and this is what we have. Next step, we want to cross both ends of our line into the top part of that second bead we picked out. So the right would go to the right and the left would go to the left. And finally, we have placed our button nicely. So from here on, we want to pass around our fishing line. We'll go into that same part of the bead we picked out, the sides, then all around the bag. When we are done with this, we then cut off the excess fishing line. That is done. Let's locate the second part this magnetic button will be. We are going to pin it down there, and this is where the second part will be. So we're going to pass our fishing line through that bead right there like we did earlier. Then both sides of the line would go into both sides of the magnetic button. But firstly, let's press that down. Then we pass both sides of the line through it. Once that is done, we cross both ends of the line into the remaining parts of the bead we picked out. The right goes to the right and the left goes to the left. Finally, we have fixed the second part of the button nicely. Here on, we just want to pass around our fishing line like we did earlier, then we cut off the excess. And yay, we are finally done with our bag. This is what our work looks like. Let's check if our magnetic button works. And yeah, it works perfectly fine. So this is what your work should look like if you follow this tutorial closely. I really hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share to friends who may find it helpful, okay? Pro tip to remember for this bag, always start with an odd number. Like I did earlier, I started with 13 rings. If you want your bag to be wider, you can choose 15, 17, 21, as long as it is an odd number. Alright, thank you for staying till the end. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Goodbye.